All right, let's dive in. Today, we're basically becoming stock market detectives. We're going to break down a really fascinating, multi-layered strategy for finding promising stocks. And look, this isn't about magic crystal balls or anything like that. It's all about following the breadcrumbs, the clues that are hidden right there in the open.
Okay, so our whole investigation kicks off right here, with this map. Now, this isn't just a bunch of random pins on a board. Each one of those dots is a brokerage firm in the city of Kaohsiung, in Taiwan, and they were all buying the exact same stock, number 6651, on the exact same day. I mean, when you see a cluster that tight, you just know something is up.
And that really gets us to the big question, right? Is this just some kind of wild coincidence, or is it a real signal? You know, a clue left behind by what the pros call smart money, the folks who are consistently a step ahead of the market. That's what we're going to try to figure out. So this whole strategy, this way of thinking, it comes from an analyst who goes by the name Milk Brother. He's the one who figured out how to connect all these different dots to find a real edge.
Right, so that map, that's kind of the aha moment. It's the final piece of the puzzle, the thing that confirms a hunch. But to really get why it's so powerful, we've got to back up a little and see all the steps that led up to it.
At the end of the day, the goal here is actually pretty simple, but it is a game changer. It's all about finding the tracks of that smart money before everybody else piles in. You want to see where the pros are going, and well, get there early.
So how do you actually do that? How do you find these so-called smart traders? Well, you don't try to boil the ocean. You narrow your focus. You start by looking for specific, individual brokerage offices that have a proven track record of making winning trades.
And this is a really important point. We're not talking about a huge company like, say, Morgan Stanley as a whole. No way. The analyst is looking at the specific Morgan Stanley branch in Taiwan, or the Taichung Bank branch in a particular neighborhood. It's super localized. It's all about finding these little pockets of excellence, these specific offices that just seem to nail it time and time again.
And here's what that looks like in practice. The analyst literally keeps a list tracking who's buying what. So they'll see, okay, Morgan Stanley Taiwan is buying into this stock called Jingju. Or, hey, that little branch in Fengyuan is buying Fengshen. This becomes the first real layer of intelligence.
But here's the twist. Following those top brokers, that's actually step 2. The whole process really starts way broader. It starts by casting this massive net across the entire market to see what's already bubbling to the surface.
Yeah, this is the big data part of the whole thing. The analyst uses automated software to just scan everything. It's looking for stocks that are already showing some muscle. You know, maybe the price is trending up or trading volume is suddenly spiked. It's the computer's way of saying, hey, you should probably look at these. And just look at this. This gives you an idea of how big that net really is. This is what the computer spits out. Hundreds and hundreds of stocks all flashing some kind of buy signal. It's just a sea of information. I mean, if you tried to trade based on this list alone, you'd go crazy. It's what you do with this list that matters.
Okay, so this is where the real magic starts to happen. This is where you put your detective hat back on. You take that massive, noisy list from the computer scan and you compare it to that very short, very specific list of winning brokers we talked about.
And this quote really says it all. The magic happens when a stock that popped up on that giant computer screen is also being bought by one of those all-star brokerage branches. That's the light bulb moment. That's the signal you're looking for.
So let's just lay out the whole game plan, the whole funnel. First, you cast that wide net with the technical scans. Second, you keep your eye on that curated list of winning brokers. Third, and this is the key, you find where those two lists overlap. And then, the final check, step 4, is that geographic confirmation. You look for those clusters on the map.
So why does this even work? What's the secret sauce? Well, it's because you're not just relying on one thing. You're building a case piece by piece. You start with this huge ocean of data, and you just keep filtering it down until you're left with these incredibly specific, high-confidence signals.
And what's so cool about this is that it's not just a one-time fluke. It's not about getting lucky. It's a repeatable system. It's a process designed to find this specific pattern over and over again.
And look, here's the proof right here. On the left, that's the stock we started with, number 6651, with all those buyers in one city. But now look at the right. That's a totally different stock, number 6568. And you see the same thing, a cluster of buyers, just in a different city this time. This proves that geographic clue isn't just a coincidence. It's a real repeatable signal the analyst is hunting for.
So if you take one thing away from all this, it should be this. It's all about combining different kinds of information. You take the big, broad computer data and you mix it with the specific human data. It shows us that the who, which specific brokers are buying, and the where, those weird geographic clusters, can be every bit as important as the what, which is the stock itself.
And that kind of leaves us with a really interesting question to chew on, doesn't it? This analyst found a way to connect computer signals, the behavior of specific traders, and even their physical location to get an edge. It just makes you wonder, what other signals, what other hidden patterns are out there, hiding in plain sight in all that market data?